get more backup. And lock down the airspace.
Yuri, you okay?
If he makes it out of that building, we're gonna lose him.
I'm gonna go,
Do your thing.
Yes! He's the day, Willie! Heads up! Hey, where you going? You guys all right?
We were just about to call for backup.
I think I'm it.
Lead the way. We'll be right behind you. Heads up, boss.
Writing your memoirs? Don't forget the hyphen between Spider and Man.
Get the chopper ready. I won't be long. I'm surprised you made it this far. But your foolishness ends now.
You do know I can still see you, right?
80 years of this insolence.
Oh, for me? You shouldn't have!
How is this happening?
What's wrong, Willie? You seem angry.
I will destroy you!
Take your best shot! That gave me an opening.
You'll die as uselessly as you lived!
Take your best shot!
You are everything that's wrong with this city!
Huh. I was gonna say the same to
A
you.
few months ago, we played Spider-Man for the first time, and we learned in those opening moments of the game that Kingpin falls right away. Like, Peter Parker and Wilson Fisk have been thrown down for 5 years, roughly, since Peter Parker became Spider-Man. And this is his big moment, his big victory, where he finally takes down Kingpin and thinks that things are going to be better in the city. The weird thing about this visit is that we learned about this moment, but they didn't show it to us. We didn't see what happened. We just saw Fisk, you know, in his tower being triumphant, and then we saw him behind bars, basically, in a police car.
Yeah, and he looked disheveled. He looked as though he had been beaten up by a person with spider powers. But that's all we saw. But you went back to Insomniac recently, and you actually got to participate in that boss fight, right?
Yeah, I played 4 hours of the game, and true to their word, this is like the first big thing you do in the game is take down Wilson Fisk. And the battle, like most God of War games where that first boss fight you have is huge in scale and just like two titans throwing down.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens here. I don't want to detail exactly what happens in the fight, but Fisk is basically a raging bull. It doesn't matter what he hits, he will go through it.
Yeah.
That includes walls, ceilings, floors. I mean, this is a multi-story fight that unfolds, and a lot of times you're just along for the ride, and it's kind of being dictated where Fisk is taking you.
Yeah, I mean, he's throwing you around a lot. Like, he keeps up with Spider-Man. Like, he seems to have comparable strength. He even tries to like secure himself in this room, and Spider-Man just like breaks through it, and he just breaks his desk in anger in an attempt to like intimidate Spider-Man, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like all good supervillains, you would assume that they think, one, the cops might show up someday, and two, maybe a superhero. So he has prepared. Like, Fisk's tower is kind of a fortress, and when things go bad there, the defenses come up, and you have to deal with those as well.
Were there a lot of QTEs?
There's a few. Like playing the Uncharted games, you want to keep your hand on the controller. Like when the cutscene's happening, you just never know what's going to happen. There's one moment as the building's being destroyed where I had to free some of Fisk's employees just standard civilians from beneath rubble. And that was a moment where once Spider-Man got his fingers under the rubble, I had to lift it up, jamming on the square button.
And that just happened like in the middle of the boss fight. Like you had to take care of civilians.
This is just the moment where you're running to the next sequence.
Oh, okay.
But there was one moment where I'm free falling with Fisk, and then I had to hit various buttons to timing buttons. This wasn't jamming on the buttons. This was like a matter of timing to shoot webs or, brace for impact, stuff like that.
And when you weren't doing QTs, what was the combat like? Were you doing like combos or?
I don't want to give away all the strategies, but you're doing a bunch of different things at different stages in the fight. It's a multi-stage kind of encounter where at one point you're relying on more of your melee. Other times you got to be more resourceful.
But it's a lot more than just hitting square.
Oh yeah. Yep. But in the aftermath of it, you see Fisk get put in the police van, whisked away to the prison, but that's not the last you hear of him here. And I'm not saying you're going to hear him like on a phone. You're not going to call in or go visit him at the prison or anything like that.
Get on Skype
but,
with him.
His people are still around across the city. They're still running the empire. But there's another force that's coming in to take that down. And they even have some missions that are kind of the aftermath. One of the ones that I played was the estate sale. So they're starting to get rid of all of his belongings that were probably in Fisk Tower, right? That it's been seized now. One of them is, I don't want to, again, give away a lot of it. There's a lot of old, priceless paintings and statues and stuff like that. But one of them is a cello that he has behind this glass case. And for all the Spider-Man fans out there, it is named Vanessa. Look it up.
Okay, so it's like, oh, should I be excited about that? Okay.
But I think that's cool that they have kind of this continued legacy. Usually when a boss goes down, that's kind of the end of it, right? You get a trophy or whatever, and then that's the end of that villain. But this one, it seems like it's kind of bleeding along as this new threat is starting to arise.
Well, it's exciting because there was an E3 demo where they showed you talking to Kingpin over, communications and stuff like that. And it made me think, oh, Kingpin's going to be like the main guy that you're interacting with and fighting with through the course of the game. So for Insomniac to kind of pull the rug out and be like, oh, no, he's like in jail. Like the first fight that you have with him, it almost feels like an end game scenario just to be the starting line for the game. And that's exciting. That's really awesome.
And you have to wonder, like at E3 this year, we saw that sequence where they introduced the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
But the prison's being destroyed. There's a riot going on in the prison. Does Kingpin get out there? Like, will you fight him again? Will he join up with the Sinister Six? There's a lot of questions that we still need answers to, but I really liked what I played. I thought the boss fight was really well done, intense, like high levels of intensity all the way through it, and that's just the first one. Like you're going to become more powerful as the game goes on, so you're going to have a wider arsenal for the later foes. Especially, you got to take down all of the Sinister Six at some point.
Yeah, well, I hope so. But yeah, it sounds like an awesome way to kick off the game.
But your foolishness ends now.